5,000 years ago, humans finally learned to fuse copper and tin to make bronze. Farming tools became way more efficient, weapons got tougher, astronomy appeared, laws and tax systems were set up. And for the first time, people traded across continents. Then, populations soared, and cities grew bigger and fancier. This was the Bronze Age, the golden era of 6 great kingdoms in the Middle East, from Egypt all the way to Babylon. But then, suddenly, it all disappeared, as if someone hit the reset button on a computer. The Bronze Age and all its glory collapsed. The big question is, how could that happen? The mystery started when archaeologists uncovered the ruins of ancient cities here. Almost all the building debris was covered in ash and showed burn marks, indicating there had been massive fires or natural disasters. Another clue came from inside the houses, where many valuables were still left behind. Like the inhabitants fled in such a hurry they could not grab anything. On top of that, international trade vanished, and mass refugee camps were found inland. And crazily, these destruction traces happened almost simultaneously across all the kingdoms. All of this led researchers to theorize that something mysterious tore through these realms and forced people to abandon their centers of civilization. This all brings us to the peak of the mystery. Who was the mastermind behind it all? The biggest clue was only discovered years later on a clay tablet. It contained a message from a king asking for help from another ruler. He wrote that mysterious ships had attacked and burnt cities. Unfortunately, this message was never actually sent. Then, in another kingdom, many carvings depicting a massive war from around the same time were found. And the attackers, again, ships from the sea. Scientists began piecing together a story. The force behind the Bronze Age collapse was a mighty seafaring people. Ancient Egypt was their final target. Luckily, the pharaoh had already received reports from neighboring kingdoms, so he prepared his army. A great battle ensued. The Egyptian fleet pummeled enemy boats with arrow volleys without mercy. Egypt won, but the victory came at a heavy cost. Wealth was drained, trade routes destroyed, and internal conflicts slowly dragged Egypt into collapse. But really, who is this bringer of destruction? Well, no one really knows. Historians are still debating it today. One theory says they were migrants from a region hit by natural disasters, looking for a new home. The military gear shown in those carvings closely resembles cultures from that area. Yet, there's no evidence of large-scale migration ever happening here. Another idea is that the Sea Peoples were a coalition of tribes that united specifically to attack wealthy kingdoms. Whoever they were a formidable force. Just look at how many Bronze Age civilizations they toppled. Okay, but actually the culprit behind this collapse is still shrouded in mystery. Some theories say it was not the Sea People at all, but an extreme drought. Or maybe the governments were already fragile, so when natural disasters hit and foreign invaders attacked, the kingdoms fell apart easily. It's just like a line of dominoes. One tilts and they all crash down. What's wild is that almost every fallen kingdom truly vanished, as if wiped off the map. Think of an ancient Greek realm, not the famous classical one, but an even older civilization. There's no trace of its language, culture, or traditions carried forward. They could not learn from the lost kingdom, so a completely new Greek civilization had to rise in its place. Even the most glorious civilizations can falter if their foundations are not solid enough. The question is, what about our civilization today? Will we learn from their fate and forge a future built to last? Will we rise to the challenge together?